Welcome to this presentation on Vipassana in daily life. In this presentation, I shall talk about how someone can apply Vipassana, noble mindfulness, in daily life through usual daily activities. The way that someone can apply noble mindfulness within daily activities is different from the kind of ordinary practices such as mindfulness and meditation practices, because in order to do these meditation practices, a person requires taking some time out of usual activities to sit in a quiet place and to close their eyes and cut off sensory information and so on. But then if you were to question, in order to experience peace, if somebody has to continuously engage in this kind of meditation, then to find peace, then a person will have to meditate all the time, or alternatively, the person cannot still gain peace while doing daily activities. So that explains the kind of ordinary practices where someone needs to take time off and cut off sensory experiences to experience peace, as opposed to applying noble mindfulness where someone can usually going and doing usual activities without having to make any changes, but simply developing understanding about self and how person's understanding of self comes to establish, and what is beneficial and what's not beneficial for someone based on wisdom through middle mind training. And kind of understanding how to develop middle mind training process and developing noble mindfulness is particularly beneficial for today's world, because the kind of world we live in is very busy, where people seem to be doing something or the other all the time. If there is nothing, at least with their mobile phones, they'll be doing something, keeping themselves busy. So their minds are always busy. So thoughts come and go, and sensory experiences are also subject to change. So for instance, if somebody would like to consume some kind of food, the taste can only stay for a few moments of thought, and equally if someone tries to smell something nice, the duration that a person can smell is likely to short-live. So based on thoughts and the kind of sensory experiences, and the kind of conventions, which are language, concepts, and terminologies, and based on what others said from childhood, a person comes to kind of understand self as a stable self. Yet, when a person's understanding of a stable self seems to be challenged by the changing nature, then the person seems to get so much distress about it, because person hasn't been necessarily thinking about it, why there is a mismatch between what is happening as opposed to what a person was thinking. And in that manner, people not only construct an idea of a stable self, rather an underlying tendency to understand self as a stable person, but also tendency to construct stress within their daily activities and everything that they do. If we were to explore some of the examples, for instance, people can kind of construct stress out of what they have. Let's say, for example, if a person has a kind of a job, and that if a person feels that job is not good enough, and a person can feel too much stress about it. So having a job is one thing, and if somebody feels that the job that a person has is not good enough is another thing. So what is beneficial if somebody feels that the kind of the job, or it may be something else, what is important for the person is not the best and not good enough, finding ways for getting it, if that's important for a person, will be of benefit to that particular person. Yet getting overly stressful about it and not doing anything about it, or even with doing certain things and getting overly stressful about it, can cause too much mental pain for that person, which is not the interest of that person. So, if you were to take another example, sometimes people tend to construct stress out of what they don't have. Let's say, for instance, somebody says that I don't have a job, and they may get too much stress about it. And if we were to explore this kind of thinking, so not having a job is one thing, and trying to sort out a job as much as possible, action-wise, is of benefit to the person. But getting overly stressed about it is not necessarily going to be of benefit to the person if it causes too much mental stress, and also sometimes too much mental stress can cause depression, addiction, and these kind of things, making someone unable to function day and night, and also making someone to take actions that are essentially helping them to improve their living. And if you were to think about some more examples how people go on constructing self, sometimes people can make stress by kind of making assumptions. For instance, somebody can say, I have failed my exam, and can kind of make the assumption that I may fail again and give up taking any effort to redo the exam. Instead, if a person who has failed the exam are willing to put efforts, is willing to put more efforts, and there is more chance and probability that the person who failed the exam will likely to succeed. So at the same time, people can make stress by not making assumptions. For instance, sometimes someone can think and say that I have failed my exam, that's it, no point in trying again. So failing the exam is one thing, and instead of trying, giving up would indicate that the likelihood of success in the future through the exam has been cut off because of somebody's not thinking in a way that is beneficial to self. So this explains how someone can kind of apply wisdom to reflect and analyze what they are thinking about themselves, their situations, others, and the world within their minds and thoughts. Taking time to reflect what one is thinking and applying wisdom to it is what we call as middle mind training in Buddha's teachings. It's different from ordinary practices, as I have explained before. So, as a snapshot, it is about understanding what is beneficial for the person and focusing on what benefits the person to avoid getting too much stress about experiences, to experience worthy life with equanimity while going on doing usual daily activities.